I want all you young hoopers to listen carefully to Jeremy Lin right here.
The cut deadline had not passed yet, so I was not at all feeling safe or good or worried about any type of fanfare. They could easily still cut me. So I'm in survival mode.
He says, I'm in survival mode. Interesting. I was doing a mentoring session yesterday with a high school senior who said he wants to change his role during this season. Right now, he's just a shooter, he sits in the corner, but he wants to do more. Well, let's look at how a survival mode mentality can get you there. First, let us know in the comments what your role is right now on your team and what you want it to be by the end of the season. I'm really curious to hear all of your guys' thought processes. So you want to transform your role, and yet your confidence or your coach or something is holding you back. Well, that idea made me think about players who have found ways to transform their role. And this usually happens from one season to the next. Like my sophomore year of high school, I was a borderline starter. I would normally wait in the corner for other people to make plays for me, and I averaged about 8 points a game. Then my junior year of high school, I completely broke out from that. I became a primary playmaker for my team. I actually won Central Jersey Player of the Year, and I averaged about 17 points a game. By the way, Central Jersey, some pretty good hoopers there. But how do you do this once the season has already started? Because by this point, whether you're 3 or 5 or 10 games into the season, you can easily get stuck doing the same thing every time. It's like ordering the same coffee every morning without realizing there are more better options, without realizing you can do more. Well, I want you to use the mentality of the absolute legend Jeremy Lin. Now, I'm really hoping you young hoopers watching have heard the story of Jeremy Lin and his famous Linsanity run. Basically, Lin was one of the last players on the Knicks depth chart during the 2011-12 season when they were really struggling. So their head coach, Mike D'Antoni, decided to give him a shot in a game against the Nets, and he ended up scoring 25 points in that game. The Knicks won. He then became the starter and led the team to a 7-game winning streak, scoring over 20 points in each of those games. This also led him to get a really good contract from the Houston Rockets for the next season, and overall, he had a very solid NBA career. Okay, the point is, Lin was able to go from the 15th man on an NBA roster to a starting solid role by leveraging one small opportunity. That's pretty mind-blowing and definitely an extreme scenario, but I believe there is a lot you can learn from him that will help you in whatever basketball situation you're in right now. First of all, it's well reported that Jeremy Lin worked his ass off. Long before he got any minutes with the Knicks, he was the first one to show up every day, the last one to leave, was watching tons of film, working with the coaches on his skills, yada, yada, yada. He was doing all the boring cliche things that do tend to pay off for 2 reasons. First, you obviously get better in the moment. A lot of players make the mistake of getting complacent when the season starts. It would be like if after my fantasy football draft, I didn't make a single proactive move all year. I'd be much more likely to fail when the season is on the line. Don't worry, that's not me. I'm in the playoffs. But you can continue to get a lot better throughout the year, whether it's on your shot, your handle, or even your strength. If you're not continuously improving, then you'll be way more likely to fall short when that opportunity does come. And second, coaches will notice it. If you get extra shots up after practice every day, that means something. If you go up to your coach and ask them to watch film together, that means something. Coaches want players who are going above and beyond what is required. Again, because you truly want to improve, not just because you're trying to impress them. Okay, so you're working hard, and now it's about taking advantage of that opportunity. The night before Jeremy Lin's breakout game against the Nets, he was still sleeping on his teammate Landry Field's couch. He had nowhere else to stay, and his agent basically told him before that game, if you don't play well, this is your last chance in the NBA. So in his mind, there was only one option. Go out and be aggressive and show everyone what he could do. Even if he failed while doing that, at least he gave himself a chance. A lot of you have goals of playing college basketball, and if that's the case, then you need to have this mentality. Because you have 2 options. You can play it safe and never fail, but also never stand out. Or you go into survival mode. You take advantage of any opportunity, even if it's just 2 minutes, aggressively and confidently. Then you at least give yourself a chance of changing your role and potentially your future. I think being invisible is the #1 mistake you can make as a younger hooper. Again, if your goals are playing at the next level. I talk about not playing invisible and everything else I've learned about confidence in our course on Unshakeable Basketball Confidence. I'd guess Jeremy Lin wouldn't need to take the course, but you might if you think confidence is something holding you back this season. So go to hackinghoops.com or read this video's description to learn more. I think this will really help a lot of you guys. Okay, how do you stop being invisible? Well, you take advantage of every single opportunity that comes your way. Whether it's in practice practice or a game, go for every offensive rebound, be super aggressive on defense, sprint for easy layups in transition, and never pass up scoring opportunities. You think Jeremy Lin was passing up shots when his career was on the line? Hell no, and you can't either if you want things to change. Now here's where you really separate yourself. Yes, Jeremy Lin secured a contract with the Houston Rockets that offseason, and he had a solid NBA career. But he never reached the heights of that 2-week stretch with the Knicks again. So the way to be different is to prove it's not a fluke. Maybe you have a game where you break out, you hit 4 threes, score 20 points, and prove to everyone you can do it. Now it's time to do it again. And again and again until it's no longer surprising. Now it's just the player you are, and Jeremy was never quite able to do that. But you can, and I had teammates over the years who had the capacity to be really good, but the consistency wasn't there. And I think this mainly comes from a lack of focus. Not a lack of focus like you get distracted easily or something, but you need to remember your basketball goals every time you step on the court. These might be individual game goals, but also goals for your career. You need to write these down and journal about them and talk to yourself in the shower about them in the morning. Don't worry, most very successful people are a little bit crazy, but you need to be constantly reminding yourself of them so that you show up every day with that same focus in mind. At the end of the day, I try to make this one thing so clear. You only get one chance at this, and trying to play at the next level without putting in the work is like trying to buy a new house with no savings. It's just not gonna happen. You can't wake up at 40 and decide, okay, now I wanna play college basketball. Well, I guess you could, and maybe that would actually make a really good series on TikTok. But my point is, this means you need to be a little bit selfish to get there. Play smart, uplift your teammates, and do the right things, but also look out for yourself. I'm sure there are older hoopers watching this who have regrets, so don't let that be you. Go out there, have your own Linsanity run this season, and then don't let it stop. Like I mentioned, go to hackinghoops.com if you're interested in doing mentoring with me, joining our community, or signing up for the Unshakeable Basketball Confidence course. These are all things that I think will be great for you to make the most out of the rest of this season. As always, thank you for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I will talk to you soon.